Let's start with an activity, okay? So, for the next 30 seconds, please take a walk down your memory lane. Travel back to when you were only a child, unaware of everything that is happening around you. The time in which your parents are still teaching you about the fundamental lessons of life. But here's something to reflect. What do you think people around you may say about hatred and jealousy? Let's take a moment. So for me, it is quite obvious for my friends, my family, my teacher to immediately oppose it. And in fact, growing up, I have always been told to stop feeling that way, that I am incredibly selfish for expressing and experiencing those emotions. And as I grow older, I realize that this is not only my personal experience, but rather a common one, because the society views them even more negatively than I thought. I've seen some people portraying them as terrible. I've seen some others saying that it is a dark angle of humanity. And there are a bajillion different stereotypes vilifying such emotions. However, if such emotions don't play any functional purpose in our life, then why does this still exist as a part of human nature, a very important part to our life? Right? And so this contradiction doesn't really make sense, and let's explore that today. Hi, my name is Khang Vy, and I'm currently a junior at Wellspring International School, Hanoi, and being able to have a bit of exposure to speech and debate have taught me quite a few lessons in regard of critical thinking and developing a common sense. But wait, I know what you're thinking right here. Okay, another debater, another debate kid, right? He's probably going to yap around for another 8 to 10 minutes about logic or something. And actually, you're half correct. Because it's true, the majority of us debaters are quite obsessive about logic, and we tend to over-explain a lot of things in our life. But one thing that not a lot of people know is that we are also the one that have an overwhelming amount of self-validation issues. Or at least this is true to my case. To me, this sport is very, very intense after 4 years of doing it. Because your debate journey doesn't progress linearly, but rather it fluctuates like an actual roller coaster, going up and down and up and down. And simply speaking, you will improve, and then you will reach your peak, not improve for 4 to 6 months, grieve, and after you have passed through the 5 stages of grief, there will be a spark of motivation for you to improve again. And the more that you debate, the more that you go to tournaments, this will happen many times. And so my point here is that there are times in which I felt very, very jealous. I felt jealous to the opponent that outperformed me. I felt jealous to the person that won against me, even though I just won against them 2 months ago. And all of this hatred got converted into jealousy, got converted into hatred. I hated my opponent, and I hated myself. But do you know what makes this experience even worse? It is the fact that I fear relieving my emotions to others and to seek help, because I am absolutely terrified of the potential criticisms of other people around me. And so I felt even more guilty and self-destructive from inside out. But now, reflecting back from my experience, I do understand why the society have created so many stigmas against jealousy and hatred. 1. Humans are communal animals, and so we depend on our society for our own benefits. That is the reason why social progression tries to eliminate the idea of individuality, so all of us can try to contribute and help each other out. But 2, jealousy and hatred tends to escalate into worse form of behaviors. For example, you might offend people around you, you might insult them, and so people oppose that. But to be fair, these are all reasonable arguments to explain the current status quo. But they are not at all good reasons and good way for you to validate and embrace your own emotion. And so what happened here is that there's a culture of rejecting emotions. Please acknowledge that this culture of rejecting emotions are even more severe than they sound. because they will turn into social norms, manipulating every single behaviors of yours, even to the smallest, slightest action. You will one day wake up, fear expressing your emotions to others. You will one day wake up and feel guilty for experiencing those emotions. And this norm will get normalized. And this will birth a culture of suppressing your own emotion. A culture of suppressing the natural order because emotions will forever exist in us. It is something unchangeable. And so, in order for us to withstand and fight back such dominating narrative, we must learn to be open. And so for everyone sitting here today, please perceive what I'm about to say in the most objective light, in the most objective way as possible. Because I will now tell you two things that will challenge your moral framework. One, there are no such things as good and bad emotions. We're only comfortable and uncomfortable one. That is the reason why, instead of constantly vilifying such emotions to be bad in your daily life, you should just view them more charitably as just uneasy feelings. This is important in allowing you to recognize what you're feeling and approach them more easily. But number two, even though negativity may be admitted from jealousy and hatred, it is not directly caused by the emotion itself, but rather the way that you handle the situation. You are allowed to feel jealous, and you fully reserve the right to feel envious. But choosing to insult somebody because of it are two completely different things. That is the reason why understanding this concept is so important in allowing us to control ourselves and control our behaviors. This is how we can gradually unlearn the toxic methods to deal with this type of emotions that the society has internalized in us all. And so, to this extent, you may ask, okay, why does it all matter, right? How can such emotions be so strong and so impactful in our life? And the simple answer here is that jealousy and hatred is like any other type of emotions. It can only manifest when we deeply and we truly care about something. But to me, in my opinion, jealousy and hatred is the most powerful form of emotion out there, because it can take you to places which you have never imagined yourself being in, and it can help you to become an even better person. And so let's analyze the emotions and start with hatred. Once you hate somebody or something, what happens? Of course, you must know what you're hating, right? And so you must learn to evaluate the situation, and you must understand what triggers you so much. For example, if you hate somebody with a different political opinion from you, you must know that person, you must know their opinion, and you must care about politics. And this whole entire process just unconsciously urges you to research. It urges you to deepen your critical thinking skills, and it allows you to know more about the world. But two, hatred is also a self-defense mechanism. Not a lot of people know this, but humans are quite selfish in the way that we care about our own values. We care about the things that we want to protect. So when we hate to protect. And we hate in order to maintain what's important to us. And so this will allow you to avoid harm. For example, I don't really like smoking because I know that it is ridiculously bad for your health. And that's the reason why I hate the action of smoking and will avoid it at all costs so it doesn't harm me. That's how it works. Finally, let's talk about the golden question here of today. How are we able to control all these emotions and actually own it? There are three main steps. One, you must identify the emotions that you are going through. And so you must approach them much more easily. And you must approach them much more easily. And so when the next time that you feel uneasy with yourself, the next time that you feel angry, and the next time that you have mixed emotions, stop. Stop whatever that you are doing and just focus on your emotion and identify what's happening. Number two, dig deep into the root cause of the problem. And so start asking questions. When you hate somebody, okay, why do you hate them? When you feel jealous, what do you want? When you feel jealous to a certain person, And so separate the emotion into many different layers of nuances and start analyze them. Approach them more logically. Step 3. Act rationally. Evaluate what are the outcomes of your behaviors and understand what are the consequences when you do a certain thing. This is a crucial step for you to prevent these emotions from turning you into a villain. Whether or not you become the Joker or whether or not you become Batman, it depends on you. Look down because it's literally in your hand right now. I know that adopting such habits is quite difficult because we are all defined years and years of stereotypes and habits have been reinforced upon us every single day. But need not be scared to face those emotions because only then can you actually embrace it and you can change. I know to this point, some of you may find my speech a little bit unrelatable. And so I hope that whenever you feel pressure from academic reasons or whenever the crisis in life kick you in the future, you are able to refer back to what I'm saying to seek direction in the messiness of your emotions. But even until then, I hope that you enjoy your life and I'll see you next time. Thank you.